Hey guys, Anthony here. It is Friday, July 19th, 2024. I just made this video, and then when I went back to upload it, I saw that it didn't film, so I'm refilming it. And I'll make it a little bit shorter. But I had promised the other day to go over or start going over the Republican National Committee's GOP platform of Making America Great Again, which they say 20 points, and I want to discuss the first 2 points of that 20-point plan because the first 2 points are, number one, extremely important. Number two, I think nearly impossible to carry out effectively, but that's my belief. You could tell me what you think um, as part of this video in the comments section. And I'll put some links to some pages like Michael Von World, J.J. Carell. J.J. Carell is making a documentary video on this whole thing with the illegal migrant invasion. Michael Von World has a channel, and he actually, I think, lived for a time or lives there now in the area of Panama where the Darien Gap is, where China's building a road or funding the building of this huge road that leads up, you know, basically it's going to lead up all the way to the border, you know, to come to America, to make it easier and to facilitate, which dictates to me they're envisioning open borders in the future. So part of the plan says that we will, this is the RNC saying it, we will accomplish very quickly when we win the White House and the Republican majorities in the House and the Senate. So, number one of their plan, seal the border and stop the migrant invasion. So when I hear the word seal, I think of just yesterday I was putting some things in Ziploc freezer bags, and I was taking the zippy portion of it, grabbing it, getting it started, and just like, and then once that's sealed correctly, you can fill it with water, turn it upside down, and it holds water. But if it's sealed partially and you turn it upside down with water in it, the water's going to leak. So in order to seal the border, it's a tall order. What they're saying here, seal the border, entails the, excuse me, the Border Patrol changing to actually doing their job, patrolling the border, apprehending illegals, detaining or deporting them, whatever they do, rather than facilitating their coming and playing taxi service, which is what they've been doing for the last almost 4 years. So sealing the border is a tall order because you have to, number one, get the Border Patrol to do its job. So you'd have to probably replace the head or the upper workings of the Border Patrol hierarchy, management, if you will. So firing people. Maybe these are some of Trump's firings, 50,000 firings, I think it is, throughout the government system that will help push his plan further, I guess. And then even people above the border, the head of the Border Patrol, you have whoever he reports to at Homeland Security, whoever that is, that person has to be replaced as well. So would that be Mayorkas, I think? Or so a lot of heads got to roll, and then the mission has to change from being a taxi cab service and a welcome wagon to a one that actually does what it says it's supposed to do. Let's put it that way. So how that happens quickly, I don't know. Nothing in government happens quickly, but apparently they say this is. And then the second part of that, number one, and stop the migrant invasion. So you got to seal the current border that's porous now and open, and all that comes along with that. Then you have to stop the incoming migrants that are coming from all over, you know, converging onto parts of the border in Texas and in New Mexico, Arizona, California. You need to stop that flow. So what do you got to do? You got to stop the money, the people that are working, doing it. So the NGOs, particularly all the ones associated with us, Catholic Charities, Hias, that are bringing in, that's a Hebrew run or Israel run NGO that's actually bringing in, I think, you know, Muslim people. So I don't know how that goes with their mission that they're currently involved in, but they're in fact doing that, and there's guys on the ground that actually show that. Um, the United Nations, the funding that we give, the hundreds of millions, perhaps billions, perhaps we don't even know, the dark money, that maybe money that went to Ukraine gets diverted for border. We don't know when the money goes, oh, it's going to here. We just got an aid package to, yeah, as soon as it gets there, yeah, send 100 million to this group here. And then, by the way, while you're at it, kick back some back to us. So you got to follow the money. That's got to be cut off. Groups have to be dismantled in order for that flow to stop. Countries that are bringing people in, cartels, criminal organizations, have to be forcefully dealt with. You can't just say, hey guys, you know, you might want to stop bringing in. It's got to become not profitable to them. If it becomes not profitable to them, they'll go to another mode of making money. But on this particular number one, that's got to be made non-lucrative anymore. So all the trafficking that comes along with that has to be made non-lucrative anymore. So how is that going to be done? How is the logistics look for number one? And number two goes along with number one. Number two says, carry out the largest deportation operation in American history. So let's say, and the numbers vary, that there's 20 million people. There's more than that, but there's 20 million illegal migrants. And they're dispersed throughout the country, particularly strongholds in some of the bigger cities. We think New York, well, we know New York, Chicago, LA, etc. So do you start in those big cities where they're, in smaller areas, housed in hotels and things, where you could go directly to those areas? Then what do? You start pulling them out of their rooms, getting them on buses, trains, planes against their will. How do you feed them? How do you find out where they're from, get them to where they're going? There would have to be a huge logistic, as complicated as it was to plan this, to pull this logistic mission off, bringing them here through land, sea, and air. You have to do the opposite and reverse it, which is even harder in my opinion, because now you're dealing with people that don't want to go back. They want to stay here. They're getting money, they're getting housing, they're getting 3 square meals plus. Many of them are doing jobs off the books. Some are doing criminal activity. Some are raping and pillaging people and getting away with it. So they're not going to want to stop doing what they're doing. It's lucrative for them. So how does that look on, number one, on paper? How is it mapped out? Number two, how is it actually carried out? Because anybody could write anything on paper. How is it carried out? How does the logistic train look? The logistics of it, the mapping of it, the planning and coordination. What organizations in our government are going to be spearheading it? Is there going to be one? Is Homeland Security going to spearhead it? And all these people that were bringing people in, they're all of a sudden going to want to take them out? The ones that were getting orders to bring them in and then get them placed throughout the country, and then the logistics of giving them money. Do you just cut their money off? So let's say you cut the money off to 20 million people to get them to surface. Because if you cut the money off, at some point they're going to surface, and there's good and bad. If they surface, okay, you know who they are. But what if they surface and start criminal activity or stealing or robbing because they're not getting money anymore? Now they're going to go take what they need. So you've got a potential civil unrest nightmare on your hands. How is this, the first two items going to be carried out. I want to see the detailed plan, not just the lip service plan or the plan on paper, because the people that I talk to um, on Facebook and all these groups that I interact with, they're on the raw. Everything Trump gets in, day one, it's over. Where everything's coming back to normal. Gas prices are going to go down $2 the day after he comes into office. A loaf of bread is going to be, instead of $8, it's going to be $4. Everything's going to be good. Your grocery basket that cost me $200 the other day and got hardly anything will be $100. It sounds good. It's certainly wishful thinking, but can it really happen? And how long will it take to happen? And will 4-year term be able to do these 20 things? I'm only talking about the first two. I don't think the first two could be done. I don't think they can be done. I don't think it can be stopped. It can be slowed down, possibly. Stopped, sealed, don't know about that. Not without a fight. Not without, you cut the money off to all these groups that are making a lot of money, and you got a fight on your hands. And deportation of people that don't want to go back, and then to boot American citizens that support them, millions of American citizens that support them staying here, and another political party that brought them here. Well, actually, both parties brought them here. But what are you telling me here? That's what I want to get your opinion on. I'll put some links in the description box, but you guys let me know what you think, how number one and number two could be logistically carried out, and then the contingencies that arise from doing it. How do you react to that? What's your reactionary force look like? Okay? Thanks for watching. Take care. Stay ready.